What was the most important thing you learned last week in California?
I'd say that sentiment has moved away from being bearish to being quite concerned about performance. It's become very much an individual kind of a, I don't know, a colonoscopy, if you want to think about it for a man my age. I mean, and eventually you have to do that. You have to really, I'm not going to get into the metaphor of that, but you have to at some point have an introspective point here in the year where your performance, or generally speaking, I'd say performance is pretty bad, and where it's not, people are very confident that they're going to have the rest of the season right because they're just going to stay with what they've been doing. But the reality is that I think we're going into the final months of the year now, where a lot of people have to question the premise that they had on a lot of big things. And some people are trying to tell us that earnings, have bottomed, and if the dollar starts going down further, that would be a tailwind for earnings. We can debunk that in a hurry when we start to talk about unit demand levels, comping against the toughest comparisons of a 5-year cycle. I mean, it's not just about the dollar. And by the way, on a year-over-year basis, the dollar is actually up. So, again, it's just this constant kind of quest to find where we were wrong and where we could be wrong further. Well, you don't have to look any further than a continuation of where you've been wrong. So again, if you look at slide, I think it's slide, I forget what slide, but the earnings slide where we showed the trailing 12-month average of earnings, earnings breaking below that TTM average, that effectively is a clean-cut signal that we could very well be going into a profit recession without having a U.S. recession, and that was something that I think a lot of people are pretty cognizant of. After getting smoked in industrials and energy stocks and everything else, it's pretty hard for people not to acknowledge the score. So that was on the table, but again, it's ongoing performance anxiety, or as I like to call it, HPAD, Hedgeye performance anxiety disorder, that really was apparent from San Francisco going through to Los Angeles.